Okay, cool.
Well,
Hello, people. My name is Mohini Dey, and you're watching my brand new talk show, What a Melophile Wants. Now, once Frank Zappa said, information is not knowledge, knowledge is not wisdom, wisdom is not truth, truth is not beauty, beauty is not love, and love is not music. Music is the best. And I totally agree and relate to what he said. And so I say, take action towards your dreams, walk your talk, express your love, live your truth, and share your enthusiasm. Make today worth remembering. Today, I have an extremely special person and an incredible musician on my show. He's a German drummer, composer, and multi instrumentalist, having worked with some renowned musicians and bands such as Steven Wilson, Joe Satriani, the Mute Gods, Paul Gilbert, Mike Kennelly, The Sea Within, the Aristocrats, Alex Lifeson, and so many more. Please welcome the unreal and one of the most hardworking people I've ever met, Marco Minnemann. How are you, Marco? How are you doing in this pandemic situation?
I'm feeling very well. Obviously the applause, is like, very heartwarming.
I know, very satisfying, no? But nothing like the real one, though.
Nothing like the real one, I tell you that. Yeah, with the pandemic obviously going on, it's a bit different,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I know, it's sad.
Yeah. Even though it's a bit strange because, like I said, I live here in like Elsinore on the lake, and the thing is like every time I look out the window, I see like people surfing, people skydiving, doing all this kind of stuff. I guess
Right.
here, not many people really obey the stay indoor rules.
Oh, is it?
Other countries do that, I think, more enforced, or other cities, but here it feels
People
like
are free?
they live, strangely enough.
Oh, that's crazy. That's sad to hear. I wish people follow the rules. Otherwise, it can get worse.
Well, I know the numbers speak for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy to have you on my show. Firstly, Marco, thank you
Oh,
so much for doing this.
likewise. It's good to be on your show. Actually, fantastic. Really.
uh,
Yeah.
it's an honor. It's an honor to have you. So, like I was saying earlier, how music is the best, how music means so many different things to so many different people. To me, music is an outburst of my soul, my expression. I always try and find ways to be as lyrical as possible when I am playing my music. It's such a beautiful thing where it has the power to evoke our highest aspirations. So I want to know, what is music to you, and how do you think it makes an impact on our life?
Yeah. First of all, that was a interesting, cool Frank Zappa quote from Joe's Garage. In fact, that's where
Yeah,
that's from.
yeah,
Yeah. Actually,
yeah.
I'm a big Zappa fan as well.
Me
Everybody
too,
who's
yeah.
a musician grew up, with Zappa's music,
Absolutely,
obviously, right? There's like
absolutely.
hardly any way around. But for
Yeah.
me, music is like, seriously, it's a calling, it's a lifestyle, and it feels natural. It just kind of belongs to my everyday life. I don't even think about it anymore. I just do it. It's like
Right.
talking. So it was like very, embranded since actually a very young age. I remember like when I was 5 or 6 years old, and my parents always, play records, always played music. I got like a very early connection with that, and
Uh-huh.
and transports you into a safe world, and one of the safest and most beautiful universes, or universe in the world, because once you're kind of in the zone, nothing can harm you. You're like, you're
Safe. You
expressing
feel
something.
safe.
It's almost
Yeah.
therapeutic. It's almost esoteric. So I really like that. So
Yeah.
that is
It's
to me. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like healing. It's kind of like a meditative state for us, no?
Oh, absolutely, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Now I'm
yeah, that.
curious, since we've like never spoken about this, how did you pick up drums out of all the other instruments? How did that happen to you?
That's actually a very interesting question, because at first, I didn't even want to pick the drums, I guess, in the first place. So it sort of happened. At first, I guess I wanted to become a guitar player, which I still am, and use as a composing and writing tool.
Oh
But
yeah, for my listeners out there, I don't think they know, but Marco is an amazing guitar player as well.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I try. But the thing is, with drums, it was sort of. I picked it up when my father actually took me to like one of his friends' place where they kind of rehearsed with a band, and I was like 5 or 6 years old and sat behind the drum set, and the rhythm felt natural. I was
Mhm.
joining in the band and playing like some rock tunes or something, and they were kind of quite astonished that I would have a feel for it. And then so they convinced my my father or told him, this guy has talent, he needs to get into this or something. And so that's really how that happened. And I was never
Wow.
pushed it or something. And so I just remember kind of walking by a music store, seeing a drum set, and my father going like, oh, hey, he looked at me, how enthusiastic I looked at the drum kit, and then looked back at me and at the drum set again. And then he said, hey,
Right.
you want to play drums? And I was like, oh, you really want to buy me all that shit? And he goes like, yeah, absolutely. But then you have to take lessons, then I want you to take it serious. And I was like,
Oh, that's
cool.
great.
If he buys me all this kind of stuff, then I want to make him proud of something. Then I want to give that.
Right, right.
So,
That's beautiful.
and here we are.
So after you started taking lessons, how old were you then when you started
Oh,
taking lessons?
well, yeah. Oh, first of all, I played organ, actually, like a two-manual organ, and that was like for 3 years. I was by that time like 5 or 6 years old. Then when I switched to guitar, I was like 9 or 10. But drums, I started pretty much when I was 11 or 12 years old. That was like my latest instrument, the latest
Oh,
addition.
wow.
And that's when I took lessons, and got really enthusiastic about it. So it came the other way around. It's so strange that people mostly know me as a drummer, because when you listen to my records, you hear me play all other instruments as well.
Right.
The drums became my most expressive instrument or versatile instrument also, that people know me of. So I'm not unhappy about that, but there you go. So
Yeah,
so
yeah. I was wondering, like, when you started playing the drums, did you think of doing anything else apart from playing the drums, or was it just drums?
no, no, no. Everything else, I always was enthusiastic to this day about,
Yeah.
like, other
But when did
instruments.
you but when did you know, like, drums is something that I want to take up
Ah,
professionally?
got it, got it.
Mm.
That happened automatically, since actually I started then at a pretty young age joining bands. And then, I was a drummer in the bands. And then I formed my own bands. And mainly I kind of kept playing drums.
Hmm.
So that decision, I don't even know. It just happened, doesn't it? That's usually how that
Maybe
goes.
maybe I should ask you, when was the first big thing that happened? What was the first big thing that happened to you in your musical career? Then maybe that will kind of answer the earlier question.
Well, it was the big thing that happened was my very first show, when my drum teacher convinced me when I was 12 years old to join him at his open air and to sit in for a few songs. And when I did, my first gig I actually missed because I was so scared that my mom had to drive me home. But then
Oh,
the second time, yeah.
I can't believe that.
Oh yeah. No, no. What really happened was I started picking up, since I was already playing organ and all this kind of stuff with foot bass and two manuals and a little bit of guitar. I had independence, so drums felt very natural to me. So um,
Right.
when my drum teacher showed me something, I
Uh-huh.
was able to pick it up immediately and even put something on top, or kind of do like a little diversion or like a little variation. And so he went to my parents and says like, "Hey, this guy has talent. He needs to go on stage with us." And it was after my second lesson or something, and I was first of course, like, I felt humbled, but I was also scared. And then when my mom drove me actually to the gig, it was the funniest fucking thing. And I had my drumsticks in my hands. I was rehearsing the song, and then there was the parking lot, and then there was like a road, and there was this open air, and I saw the open air, and by that time my hands almost froze. I was like, oh shit, all these
Oh
all
God.
these people, all
Oh
these people
shit.
stuff. And then I couldn't get out of the car. And my mom said, like, you drive you home, or you want to play? And I said, like, no, drive me home. So
Oh
the
no.
first gig I missed, but here's the good thing, and that changed pretty much my whole perspective, was when I arrived home, I was expecting my drum teacher to call and give me a hard time. But he didn't. What he did was actually right. So I arrived home and he called, and then I was like, okay, here we go. Here comes the rain. And sure enough, pass him over. So I kind of talked to him, and the thing he said was like, "Look, you were scared, right?" And I said like, "Yes." He goes, "I understand. It's a big deal. It's your first show, but you have talent. Please come back next week." So he encouraged me to do this again.
Oh wow,
So
that's
next
amazing.
week, so here's the thing. And next week I went on stage. And I remember when he called my name up on stage, it was not a feeling of like, cool, let's have fun. It was more a feeling of like, okay, don't screw this up, right? And then
Right.
I heard like every footstep on stage, like the wooden stairs. I was like being in a bubble almost. I was like, mm. And then I kind of
Yeah.
sat behind the drum set, started playing, and I didn't look into the audience because
Audience,
I was just so focused,
just the
on,
drum kit, yeah.
yeah, on playing right. and it was a little bebop tune, like dum, da, 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 bum, da, 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 da. And I was always looking just at the band and making sure everything is okay. And I thought like, cool, 3 more minutes and I'm off. And then I played a little drum solo over like, you know, a
Oh,
mid-section
wow.
kicks. You know, it's like 1, 2, 3, the bum, the diddle, the diddle, the bum, the diddle, the diddle, the dum, the diddle, the diddle, the diddle, the bum, and this kind of shit. And and then and that worked. That worked. So I was kind of, when that section was over and I went back into the arrangement, I thought like, cool, that worked. And then the following thing happened. That was all of a sudden I heard applause, and like here before. And the thing is, and I thought like, hang on, this is weird because the song isn't over yet. Why are people clapping? Is maybe something wrong or something? And then for the first time, I looked into the audience, and I saw all the smiling faces actually looking at me and applause because I played a drum solo.
Oh, that's so nice.
And all of a sudden, this chip flew off my shoulder, and all of a sudden, I didn't want to.
Good.
Yeah,
You felt
leave this
good.
anymore.
It's
So
interesting how you remember this feeling.
yeah, because it was a strong bond. It was for me like,
Right.
I never want to lose this bond again. I said like, if I give the energy to the people, they bring this back.
Beautiful.
And that's why the stage is elevated. You're speaking to the people, you know.
Absolutely.
And to this day, I don't believe, you know, when bands say, for example, oh, I don't care what the people say, we just do our thing. It's like, no, you're not, because without the people, you wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
That's the stage is elevated. And so
Yeah.
you speak to them and you form a bond. And to me, that was like, you know, the moment where, and it happened behind the drum set, and I worked for it. And I guess that's why drums.
That's amazing. Great answer. You know, that brings me to my next question. Like you said, you know, some people say that, you know, they don't care what people think and they just, you know, do what they do. So when you're writing your songs, because I've heard them, you know, when you're writing your
Sorry.
No, they're amazing. I love it. It's so challenging. But like Brian and I were talking about it in the, you know, in his episode, we were talking about like about butterflies.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was like, "Oh my God, that's the most scariest and toughest song I've ever played on." I'm like, "Yeah, tell me about it." So, you know, when you're writing songs, does your approach come first? And if it comes, do you get carried away by the thought of how people are going to take it? Do you let that affect your writing, or like, do you think about what people are going to if people are going to like it or people are going to dislike it, and then write or choose parts?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. The thing is, like, I love the variety. I love variety on my albums. And I remember when I wrote my first few albums, I was concerned about these things a little bit because I thought like, oh man, you know, I hope, you know, they're going to like this part, because you're building a following, you know, and that's the thing. And so when the first album worked out, I thought like, oh, they kind of dug it. That's cool. Let's see what I can do in the second album. But I started experimenting more. I started bringing more elements in different songs. And then after the fourth or fifth album, when I still had my fans kind of, you know, liking what I did, I thought like, oh, cool. I guess I have the carte blanche to kind of just pour my soul out. And so
Yeah, to just let it flow. Yeah.
I was just kind of doing what I like, because I thought like, cool, if I guess I like it and if my friends like it or the players, then likely other people will like it.
Yeah.
And so no, I was never trying too hard to run after a certain concept, either if it's commercially or if it's you know, kind of tailored at something. I always kind of let the music speak, and if I think it's beautiful, then I put it out.
Yeah.
Of
But you
course,
know, like sometimes what happens, like companies, they would say that, you know, this song wouldn't sell or this album wouldn't sell because it's not commercial and stuff like that. So then do you care, or you just
I mean,
do?
what is commercial? That's the thing. You know,
Yeah.
I think we both can speak for ourselves. We can make a decent living with our music.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes us also being commercial.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
With music that we really like, and that, you know, and the people that we attract like. But here's a big deal. Here's a really big deal, because what kind of audience would you like for the instrument that you learned and worked so hard? Would you like an audience who doesn't care and just dances to it, or do you like an audience who actually gets it and goes like, oh, cool, you know, what you just played was that, wasn't it? And you go like, yeah, this is why I'm actually doing this. You like to be understood. It's like being a chef, like a Michelin star chef who does like a really great meal, and people don't get what he was doing, or she, you know. Oh,
Yeah. True, true. Good answer. Good answer. Who were your major influences when when you were taking lessons or when you were uh, powering up your foundation?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, I always listen more to bands, so, but I have two answers for that. So obviously aimed first at, my upbringing with the music that I listen to, and then at the players that I obviously listen to as well.
Yeah.
But, I grew up more listening to bands like Queen, Led Zeppelin, The
Yeah,
Police,
I can hear that. Yeah.
yeah, that kind of stuff. Frank Zappa,
Frank
obviously,
Zappa, yeah.
stuff. But we also have like, many, mutual tastes, when we played together, like, we
Right.
know Weather Report and all this kind of stuff.
Right,
All
right. But you have
uh,
such a unique sound. Like your tonality is so different than other drummers. You have this great tight tone and very unique kind of sound to your drums. That's your own sound. Like when you hear the drums, I can tell that, oh, that's Marco playing.
thank
So
you.
did you like build that? Did you construct that? Was that conscious or was that an unconscious decision?
I think it became conscious. It became conscious over a while because first, I guess what you do is you find your language, you form your language, you learn how to
Mm.
talk, but then you also want to sound good. And then, over the years, I
Mm.
listened back to the albums and I thought like, oh man, why did I use this small little snare drum? Or why
Mm.
did I use this kind of cymbal? I never liked the
Right.
sound because the
Mm.
experiment. But all of a sudden, I guess years later, I found pretty much the drum kit that I really enjoyed, because what I am at the very end is like a rock drummer with like versatility because
Right.
I a rock
Absolutely.
sound. I like a low
Yeah.
kick drum, I like a cracky snare drum, mid-range toms, and like warm cymbals. And I guess
Mm.
that's sort of part of the sound, that there's like a lot of separation in the sound, but like, an impulse, that has like a rock
Mm.
tonality, but played with jazz fusion or whatever, comes along. So,
Right.
but
So
I guess
different
that,
kinds of setups, playing with different kinds of setups kind of made
yeah,
you understand what you like more and then choose.
you know
Yeah.
how it is, right? You kind of, take things
Yeah.
in, you
Totally.
throw things out and keep the ones you really like.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Great. Now, a lot of drummers, when I do my master classes, workshops, I get this question a lot. As a bass player, I would have a different answer, but as a drummer, you would have a different answer. So I want to know your answer. People come up to me and they ask me how to develop a great solid time feel. What would you say?
How to develop a great solid time feel? Well, first of all, um, we all have rhythm when we speak. We have a pace, and I guess to really develop a good time, well, as a drummer, there is like one thing that people kind of do a lot of times wrong, and that's like not using the hi-hat with the left foot. Use the hi-hat with the left foot; it gives you a pulse. That's your click track. But
Mm,
so this is kind of a thing. Just start doing this and start messing around with that. But time is also like a natural given thing,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
This is
yeah, yeah,
those two things you can either way work for it or
yeah.
you have it.
You can have it. Yeah, you
You-
just have it. It's a gift. Yeah,
Yeah, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
what would you
yeah,
say? What would your
yeah.
answer?
Totally,
Yeah,
totally. I always say that I didn't ever think about it. There was no attention towards time as such.
yeah,
I would just listen to different kinds of music. I always enjoyed polyrhythmic music.
yeah,
I would love challenging things, and that I guess pushed me to learn newer things. And
yeah,
I think when I started playing newer things, it just naturally happened to train me in time. It just
yeah,
got better and better. But
yeah,
like you said, like at first I already had a good time,
yeah,
even right from the time I started playing bass.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good thing. It had a groove. That was like one of the most important
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
in music, pretty much. It's more important
Yeah.
than all the rest. It's like building a solid house that you can live in.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, thank God for metronome. In today's time, you can just put a metronome and play, but train your self in a way where you don't have metronome. You have to be
Yeah,
your own metronome.
yeah.
You know.
I wonder who was the first person who came up actually with the idea of using a metronome to probably go. I guess the first solid time was probably 60 because it was the clock. It was the seconds, wasn't it? So the first one who invented the clockwork used it as a click track. No, I don't know.
Acha. Do you believe in destiny or do you believe that we choose our own path?
Ah, very, very good. I have to unfortunately say it doesn't sound obviously very encouraging, but I believe that we choose our own
Our
path.
own path. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a nice thing to believe in destiny, or fate, or oh my God, things are supposed to happen that way. It's an easy way out sometimes, but I guess you are the reason to make things happen in the first place.
Absolutely. Your
Yeah.
decision makes a huge difference.
I really think so. You
Yeah.
cannot let everything just fall from the sky. It's like you have
Yes.
to
Yeah.
have to look out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, in my earlier episodes, I've spoken about evolvement, development, and transformative individuality that happens over the years. Everybody's journey is so different. I want to know, how did you evolve as a person? And was it the same growing up to be a musician? Or were there two different paths that you had to go through to find that one route which made you have this marriage between your music and you as a person?
I guess it sort of morphs. That's kind of the thing, because if you're a writer and if you write lyrics and you decide for music, you write about your own life. So the person, it's sometimes it is a personal feel. If people
Yeah.
listen, especially to my last album, which is called My Sister or something like, so a lot of the lyrics, or most of the lyrics, are actually kind of real. It's like watching a reality show almost. It's a little bit intimidating sometimes, or intrusive, I would say. So the
Yeah.
personality, the music forms the personality, vice versa. Sometimes also music lets you, inspires you to write a story. If you have, like, a beautiful harmony or something, and
Mhm.
tied with the rhythm, all of a sudden the words start flowing out, and you can put things actually into perspective and also on paper then, and let it out. But so yeah, to me it was like always the same thing. Music and the personality kind of grew together. They grew up together. We both went to school, so to speak.
That's nice. So you're like the same person as a musician and you in life. Yeah.
Pretty much. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, there's like some things you don't give away. You
Yeah,
know,
of
I'm
course.
I'm not gonna share with all people, what kind of hobbies I have or what I do. But the way I act, or the way I talk, or I
Yeah,
am towards people or in my life, can be also a perspective in music. Yeah.
absolutely. Great. A lot of people have a huge struggle finding their own sound style.
Hmm.
They have a huge struggle finding their individuality. What would you say to those people? What can they do to find this voice of theirs?
Well, I guess, as crazy as it sounds, or trivial, be yourself and believe in what you do. So if you're obviously kind of listening to many many other players, which is a good thing,
Hmm.
and try to copy them, then obviously you have a hard time finding your own style, because you're running after something that others already created. But
Don't
if
you
you,
think everybody has their own voice already?
I think so. But
Yeah.
if you kind of, just take the best bits, or the bits you
Yeah.
love, and integrate it, it
Modify. Yeah.
automatically becomes your style. I think,
Yeah. It just betters every day. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. But I guess it's like a little bit of a feeling like, hey, just do what your head tells you. I remember, like, coming up with the two hi-hats, that I played with the feet, and by that time nobody was really doing this, or like, hanging the 8-inch tom up over here and using it more as a percussive instrument, or the gong drum over here. So I developed my own style, and it is a thing because people cannot put you in a drawer. They don't know what to do with it at first. And
Hmm.
you hear for the first time something brand new that you develop, that wants to make you go out on the streets and tell everyone to see, like, oh my God, this is cool. This is worth more than money, I think, such a feeling. And,
Yeah.
because nobody can buy you this. And so,
Hmm.
and once you kind of brought it to the stage and to the people and they like it, it gives you like
Hmm.
this push to go like, oh, cool. They like it. I can develop this style further. And I guess that's a big deal. That's a big part of your own voice, being heard with the stuff that you developed, and then going out and getting response for it. I guess that really helps, instead of kind of
Yeah.
playing safe and going like,
Totally.
kind of cover a few tunes, and then
Hmm.
let's see what the people think. Oh, they like it because it was already there. No, like, do something that
I
comes.
agree. Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Now you're such a busy musician, always traveling on road touring. So I want to know, how is your practice routine then when you're traveling, and now that you have all this time to yourself, how's the routine like?
That's a very, very good question, because already for years, I don't actually, and this is kind of weird, I shouldn't even say that out loud, but anyhow, I don't really practice. So the thing is, I mean, yes, look, we practice all the time because we
I
play
know
so.
what you mean. Yeah, even I don't. I don't. I just listen to a lot of music, and if I feel like, oh, that's cool, I'd start playing.
There you go, and that's the thing. So
Yeah.
obviously, with every new production that comes in, right now I'm doing like a really extreme metal production, which is
Oh
very
wow.
challenging physically as well. It's also very complicated. A lot of odd meters, so it feels like going to the gym and doing math at the same
Would you
time.
do some production for me, Marco?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
But here's the thing. So what was the question again? Oh yeah. So wasn't it?
Too exciting. Too exciting.
It's so exciting. I totally forgot the question while we were talking about the production kind of thing.
Like, how's your routine like when?
My team, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So meanwhile, I work, pretty much, for the thing that is needed, and when I write, but yeah, when I was a kid, obviously I had to learn the alphabet,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's when I kind of sat down and kind of worked like so and so many hours this, so and so many
Yeah.
hours that
Are you
I
the
don't.
kind of, I know the answer to this question, but are you the kind of person, because I've been like interviewing so many artists and everybody's so different. I want to ask you, like, how are you the kind of person who likes to practice and warm up until an hour before the show starts? Or are you a person which is like after sound check chill, and then
Yeah,
you just go do the show? I know
obviously,
you
yeah,
that,
after
but
sounds chill.
yeah.
And my guitar player from the Aristocrats, we are the
We
same.
can't, because if you write songs like Butterflies, then I can't.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, but the thing is, well, likewise, when we had our thing, it was like, a
Yeah.
lot of information, and it was condensed in a very short time of gigs. So we had to
I
kind of.
know, I'm sorry.
No, it was great. It was great. That was a good
Okay.
time. We always have a good time together. I love
Yeah.
that. But in general, when I'm on tour, with the Aristocrats, for example, because we already know the songs, we are locked in. And Guthrie and I really agree. For example, he always says like, "Hey, it feels good to kind of come back to the stage without touching the instrument for a while and just
Right.
looking at the guitar and going like, ah, there you are. Let's have fun now."
Right.
And
Mhm.
I agree. I don't like to play already everything before I went on stage. I want to play when I'm on stage. So, and then we play like during shows and tours, we play like 2.5 hour shows almost every night. You know how that is,
Yeah, yeah. Now that
So,
you spoke about aristocrats,
mhm.
I want to ask you, what is the ultimate direction all the three of you have when writing songs? Or say you have an idea and the rest two are expanding that idea. So what direction you all want to go? How do you all make that decision?
It's interesting because it happens automatically how it sounds because of our styles we bring into this.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, but we do, speaking about conscious writing, Aristocrats is maybe the only band or project. See, for my solo albums, I just write whatever I want. For the
Mhm.
Aristocrats, I kind of have to kind of write for a trio. I have to
Yeah.
go, okay, what style fits the band? Uh, will my people like it in the band? And
Mhm.
so that is definitely kind of a thing. You want to kind of have everyone happy. But I guess everybody of us has like a different writing style, just like,
Yeah.
the way we roll. And Brian writes like, very focused on arrangement, like very
Yeah.
detailed.
Yeah, like he was saying that, since you guys are located in different parts of the world, you guys can't really spend too much time together rehearsing and then, making a decision. So you guys just produce it or like, record it in your own setups and then
Yeah,
make the track. And then when you come, you just practice and then you go for the show.
absolutely that, but there's again still like a different clockwork for each of us writing. So Brian writes very, very particular. He knows already everything that is mapped out. You just
Mm,
learn the song and that's it. Guthrie leaves a lot of space. I mean,
space, yeah.
also the songs are detailed, but he welcomes a lot of input. He would, for
Right.
example, never kind of when he programs the drums, it's just like a suggestion. It's just like, oh, do whatever you feel. And
Right.
I'm sort of, I write like, usually sometimes very complex kind of stuff, and sometimes also stuff with a drive, that kind of,
Yeah.
moves, or with like a certain groove that I already hear. But
Right.
I tend to make it more elaborate that it sometimes needs to be. That's always a thing. And I hear string sections, I hear pianos and whatnot, and then in the studio we do those overdubs, and sometimes
Right. So
It's
you
different.
have that big
Like a
band
vibe.
kind of vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, I have like that's the kind of thing, you know. So
Yeah. Has it ever happened when jamming or like making songs, ideas clashed with theirs or vice versa? In those situations, how do you all make the judgment of what is working and what is not?
we don't really have that, strangely enough. We have like mutual respect for each other musically.
Yeah.
And so when we bring in our songs for the albums, we have this concept that each of us brings in 3 songs. So we have 9 songs. And that is an
Right.
ongoing concept.
Yeah.
And it completely works. You know, everybody stays out of each
That's
other's way.
beautiful. That's a great way to write, and
It
it works.
really is. But of course, you know, if there's like one song that somebody is kind of, you know, adverse to or doesn't really feel, then yeah, that needs to be discussed. You know, yeah, I brought sometimes songs, and I bring like 5 or 6 songs sometimes in, and then we decide for the 3 best
Right.
ones.
Out
Yeah.
of five,
For
yeah.
that suits that best, you know. So.
Right, right. What advice do you have for people who want to make their own bands?
Oh my God! Find first of all good people. Like work with people who you can be friends with and you can have a good hang with, because
Mm.
the chemistry factor is the most important thing to create something beautiful. Otherwise, you know,
Yeah,
it's
you need to be able to have a conversation with that person. Otherwise, it's just not possible. Yeah.
yeah, you need to pull on the same strings, you know. And I guess, you know, this is what makes bands so great, who are out there for decades and forming a band, because they appear as one big family. You know,
Mm.
like the face of the band, the
Yeah.
family. People feel that. They feel, oh, cool, I want to be part of this, you know.
Mm.
If you have like a band, you know, who just seems like they don't fit, that's like, you know, already kind of a weird kind of thing. So I guess, you know, the personalities are already a big deal. And
Mm.
yeah, and then obviously, you know, playing and the same musical taste, you know, so that you come to an agreement, you know.
Right, right. What is the biggest challenge that you've faced so far in your
Musically
growth?
or ever
In your growth, yeah.
in my growth,
Yeah, musical growth.
on my musical growth. Oh, I don't know. You know, it's kind of strange to say. I don't let things get to me as a challenge, really. I don't want
Mm.
to. You know, let me. Here was a very recent story, though. Actually, that was a bit of a challenge, and I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And so last year I was playing on 2 cruises, like the cruise to the edge, and then the on the blue cruise.
Mm.
And I was there with my band See Within, and then this other guy, Dave Kersner from the band In Continuum, said like, "Oh, hey,
Mm.
you're doing the cruise." It's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Would you like to play for my band as well?" And I was like, well, "Cool. How long are the sets?" So they're like 60, 70 minutes long. I thought like, "Okay, cool. I play that too." And then Steve Hackett from Genesis came, and he goes, "Hey, do you want to play in my band too?" I
What?
was like,
Shit.
"Oh." And
Oh
that's when I
my
thought
God.
like, okay. And then I thought like, yeah, probably another 60 or 70 minute sets. I think I can do 3 hours total. What? And so I was like, sure, you know. So I kind of confirmed. And then the Steve Hackett set came in, and the set was 2.5 hours long on its own, and had like
Oh,
2 different sets with like lengthy songs. There was like one
oh,
song, Suppers, it's called Suppers Ready, which was sometimes on a good day 28 minutes long.
wow.
So I was like, oh my God. And I was on, phew, what was it, like 4 days to cruise to the edge, and then 4 or 5 days cruise to the edge, and 5 days on the blue cruise. And man, I mean, there were enough days where it was kind of chill, but I had to learn 3 complete sets from 3 bands, had to play with them, and
Yeah.
also was in the writing sessions for our last album for the Aristocrats, you know what. So
Whoa.
all of this going on at the same time. I don't know
Wow.
how I did it. It's like one of those
That's
things you kind of look
insane.
back, you go like, how did that happen? But it did happen. But that was a challenge. And I
Wow,
was,
that's
I'm
amazing.
never gonna do that again, you know. So, but it was cool.
I know a lot of people want to know this. A lot of drummers want to know this. Is there anything that you do to keep up your stamina,
um, eh,
or just
yeah,
keep playing?
I play a lot. You know, that's
Just
the
play, yeah.
play, because drums are already kind of a
Eat
physical
and
instrument.
play.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's like, you know, so you know, play every day, and play a lot. You know, don't
Mm,
slack. That's the thing, because I
mm,
guess, you know, where, you know, the problem sometimes for people occurs is when they take a break from touring, and then they do nothing for weeks, and they don't touch
yeah,
instruments.
yeah.
That is where, like, you know, little problems can start, you know. But So I try to not let that happen. I want to play anyhow. So it's a thing. So keep
Yeah,
that to keep up your stamina,
yeah,
doing what you do. It's like
yeah.
yeah,
And this
you
is for people like who are not there yet. They're just like, in the process of still searching.
yeah
In my case, like if I have gone for 2 months without not playing the bass.
yeah.
Yeah, two
When?
months. This was during a hard time in my life. Can't speak about it, but during a hard time of my life, personal life.
Yeah.
But yeah, couldn't play the bass for like 2 months. Didn't even hear music, nothing.
Oh,
But something good happened after that. Like after the 2 months, when I touched my bass for the first time, a lot of new things came out.
yeah.
Lots of new things came out, and then I recorded it, and I kept it, and I still have them. And when I hear them, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. All the emotions that I went through in the
Yeah.
past 2 months, in those 2 months,
Yeah.
it was all coming out through my hands after that. You
Yeah,
know?
because you come to music, you come back fresh. You kind of
Yeah,
all of a sudden when you play a lick that you
yeah.
usually would play and go like, oh, that's just a
It's
lick.
like a
Oh,
muscle memory, yeah.
yeah.
When you don't then and when you don't play, you don't have that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's right. No, I hear what you say. That sometimes happens too. But I mean, I usually play. Here's the good thing, or one thing, I don't overplay like a day. So what I
Yes.
do is like I usually take like a few hours, and then
Yeah.
the diversity comes in. A little bit of guitar, a little bit of drums, but all like for the song. But I don't really sit down and practice for 6 hours like a main maniac or something. That doesn't even seem healthy.
Not anymore. Not anymore. I'm sure
No,
you did it like at one point when you started
yeah,
playing. But
yeah.
yeah.
When you started playing, then you
Yeah.
kind of want to, or you need to. It's like
Absolutely.
language. I always go like you don't think about what you speak anymore. If there's like
Yeah.
the word "p" and "speak," you don't think about it. You just talk. And that's
Yeah. It's like
with
a
me.
lot of people sometimes ask me, like, did you do anything to keep to work on your speed?
Oh,
And yeah, I'm sure you get that a lot too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then I just say that no, it was never a thought in my mind. I never worked for it. It just happened. I didn't even know I could play that fast until I played. And when I play, it doesn't feel fast, but when I hear it, I can't believe, you know?
Yeah, that's. I'm sure you have the same sensation, maybe, but that sometimes happens when you kind of listen back to what happened on stage, and when you're with adrenaline and
Yeah.
everything in, and then you
Yeah.
play, and then you listen back to it, go like,
Like,
"Holy shit,
oh,
did that happen?"
that happened? Yeah, it's like, did that really happen? Oh,
Yeah,
it did.
yeah. Like the
Yeah.
one thing, for example, what we did that I posted yesterday.
I know that one. Yeah.
That was so cool. It's still
Yeah.
in disbelief, when how did we do this production? We came in, had to set up, had to sound check, and then even work out bits and pieces, and then
In like
record
one
the entire
day,
album.
we recorded like 6 songs.
Yeah,
Six or
long
seven?
songs and
Six. Yeah,
complex
long songs and complex
songs.
songs.
Yeah.
But you were really good. Jordan and I were like, oh my God, we're getting busted.
Not at all. It was amazing. We Jordan and I too. Like when we talk about this, we go like, "How did that happen?" I
How
was
did
like,
that happen? Yeah,
"Yeah."
I
But it's a
still
good.
think,
Was
I know. Yeah,
at
like
the end,
when I
great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When I hear the music now, I feel like, yeah, actually that came out good,
Right.
But could I have done better? Absolutely.
Yeah. See what it for these things usually kind of a good time to spend like a few days.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah. I'm sure like everybody has the same feeling.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. But still, listening to the final product, you think, "Oh, okay, we made it."
Yeah, we did few things within our time frame
Yeah.
that made a huge difference. Like
Yeah.
our thing.
Oh, that was amazing. That
Yeah.
still gets like so many likes and views.
I know they love it, and people are making like covers and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have to send
We're,
you some.
we're so influential.
Oh my God, I'm telling you, we should do more. We should do more.
We really should actually.
We
We
should.
haven't
Yeah,
planned this for years.
yeah. We're the influential duo.
Absolutely.
Influential duo.
I know, right?
Okay, we're towards the end of the questions now. Okay, let me see. How much of your playing in your gigs, especially solos, is completely improvised over chops and patterns that you've already worked out before? And if it's both, then how do you keep that balance?
Okay, that's good. So I do have certain patterns that I go to, that I learned, and that I know that I can play on top of it, and I know how to communicate with the audience and also how to form musicality with it.
Right.
The most exciting parts happen then out of the blue over this arrangement or outside of this, because what I do, I try to not be repetitive, or try to speak differently every night and bring in new things or try out new things.
Mm-hmm.
And if it works, I'll just go for it and I just do lots of crazy stuff and maybe integrate a new part in the solo that came from that night. And
Right.
sometimes when you're not inspired or the sound isn't good or whatnot, you go back to the patterns. You know what I mean? You
Right.
can,
It's like saviors,
oh,
yeah.
and then let's try this. Oh, tonight it works. Let's go for it. So I know it's probably the same for you, isn't
Same,
it?
same. Yeah, yeah,
You have the
absolutely.
same. You have safe.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like a drummer on the bass, so I'm like always thinking in time, you know.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, yeah. That's what connects.
Yeah, I was talking to Nathan like a day ago, and then he was telling me that you're not actually a bass player, you're like a drummer on the bass though. I'm like, I agree.
Yeah, that's.
I wish I was a drummer.
Ah, there you go. We can swap the instrument. Oh, that would suck. That would suck for me. You'd be, you'd be great.
No, no, you'd be great too. I can totally imagine. Like you play the guitar so well. I'm sure you would be great on bass too.
Well, I can do some slap stuff and some things,
I'd
but
love to hear. I would love to hear. We should do that, like in a video or something.
actually we should. We should.
We
Kind of
should.
reverse the whole
But you
thing.
gotta teach me some drums though. I'm like, I can't play shit.
Oh, is that so? Ah, that's
Yeah.
cool. So we gotta spend some time when we teach each other,
Yeah, let's do that.
something.
Let's do
That's
that.
a
After
song.
the whole situation is over, you know,
Yeah,
hang and then we can teach each other some stuff.
absolutely. Oh,
Okay, this is the last question I have, and this is taken from a lot of our videos on YouTube.
yeah.
How did we meet? When was the first time you heard of me? And when was the first time we met?
Yeah, the first time actually, I remember like it was through Guthrie because you guys played together, and
Right.
and then the next thing what happened was, I got approached by was it Karan or who was it actually who kind of got us together for
I
the
think
show?
Karan. I think
Yeah,
Karan. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What we did actually in India, and that was the first time where we really connected. And by that time I've heard of you because of Guthrie and Chris Clarehout, as we know. So
Right. How many years has it been since we know each other? Like what, 4, 5? 5?
well, must have been at least 29 years. I was kidding. Yeah, it was like 45 years ago. No, so yeah, must have been 4 years ago, right?
4 years. Yeah, I think so.
About like
Yeah.
4 years ago. That's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, since then, well, the rest is history. We played on many occasions already and many recordings and
So
live settings.
was your tour like the first meeting we had?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I don't think so.
Where did we meet before?
What Bass Bash was before or after that? I think
That
it was
must have
after. It was after.
after, right? We played at Bass Bash?
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah?
Yes, we were the first one to open Bass Bash.
Oh, the one that this weird concert hall
Pliny
thing.
was playing.
Pliny
with
was
us.
playing. Well, we did also like the other shows, like with Pliny.
Yes.
That
at
was
the
good. The
Andrews,
Rosalie
I think.
Albers.
Was it
The
called
Rosalie
Andrews
Albers.
Auditorium? Yeah.
No, the auditorium, the big one, that was actually like the big hall. That was the Bass Bash. But the other thing, we played in this intimate setting.
Right,
remember?
right. I'm trying to
That was
remember the name of the club though. I can't remember.
Rosalie and Albers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
good gigs.
Those were good gigs. I can see a lot of people like posting a lot of videos on YouTube from that show.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Those-
have you seen those?
no, I haven't. No, that's cool. I gotta check that out. This
Do
is
you
like
do you see your own shows like online?
Oh, I don't. I decide really not to watch the things I do online so much because so many people put stuff out there, and once I get sucked into the rabbit hole there, then I kind of just go like, oh my gosh, and I kind of look at everything and judge everything.
Do you
and
read comments? Do you read comments?
Rarely. I try not to because,
Oh,
you know what I mean.
It's a dangerous place to go to.
It's a dangerous. I mean, sometimes I do, and I scroll through, and obviously,
Yeah.
it's I don't know, because as you know, we have quite a following, in the universe, and so a lot of people, have something to say or post something.
It's everywhere.
It
Yeah.
could be, it could be kind of. I know already what I'm doing. I don't want to see it. It's like
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
in the mirror the entire time,
I know, I know, I know. I usually don't. I think I've just grown thick skin out of it. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It's, I mean, what can you do? I mean, you have a life, you cannot kind of see yourself all the time.
Yeah, yeah. But sometimes you get bothered, like if it's your own people or if it's like people you know.
Oh yeah, 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 that's true. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Oh, you're talking about comments?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, oh man. Sometimes I fly over that, when I kind of, scroll through. Obviously, in every 1,000 comments, there's like one who has negative things to say. But
Yeah.
as long as most of them are good, which they are, it's
Yeah.
all cool,
It's all good.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Who cares?
yeah. So,
Okay, we are on to the rapid fire round now. We're gonna play this little game.
oh, I love this. I
Yeah,
love
with
these.
like 5 questions. Yeah, it has to be like quick.
Now,
Um,
how many words do I have to answer?
sorry?
How many words can I answer? Can I use to answer? One word only, or
One
or
word, yeah, one word. Some like there are a few questions. I think one question where you're allowed 4 words. So,
ah,
um, yeah. Okay, tell us something personal that the whole world don't know about you.
I'm good at ping pong.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, cool. If you could switch to any other instrument, what would it be?
guitar.
Ah, I knew that.
I should say
Mm.
bass.
No!
No.
Don't take my job.
No, 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 no. Nobody can take your job, that's for sure.
What is the worst compliment you've received so far?
That's actually really good. That's really good. I don't want to say, okay, you remind me of Keith Moon because I'm not like Keith Moon at all. But
At
here's the
all.
thing. I want to make this a little longer because obviously I love, what everybody's doing, but it was the worst compliment, not because I don't like Keith Moon. By all means, I do. But it just didn't fit. That's why
I
it was
know. I
didn't
know. I know.
anything to
Yeah.
do with this. So person meant well, but said
Yeah.
something that was completely.
I know, I know. To me, it was like, in my case, the worst I don't know if I can call it a compliment, but it was bad. Like after the show, I had one of my best nights, and it was actually in one of our concerts. It
Oh,
was, I think, in Delhi somewhere, and this guy came up to me and he was like, "I really like your dress."
oh.
I like, like after all the heavy lifting we just did on stage, I
That
like
is
your dress. I'm like, "Can I
yeah,
give you a punch?"
that is pretty fucking funny.
Yeah. Okay. Describe yourself in 4 words.
In 4 words, man. um, rock musician with attitude.
Go on. Go on. Go on. Okay. This is the last one. What annoys you the most?
Bad food.
Yeah. Same. Same. And like losing time. Like
Yeah,
losing
these kind
on
of things.
stage.
That's true. That's true. Because that's annoying. Because when you have to kind of perform and you want to be good and do anything, you need to live well.
Or like your guitar battery dies or something.
Yeah. Oh my God, that can be annoying.
Yeah, annoying. Yeah. Well, thank you so much once again
Yeah.
for coming on my show. It is always lovely talking to you, and I hope to see you soon again. And I hope to play again very soon after this whole
We must.
situation.
We
Yeah.
really do that. We really have to. So it's about time. And thanks so much, for taking the time. And
Oh, thank
and
you.